Hello guys, welcome to Dan's IT Network. And for today's video, we'll talk about VTP. Okay, well, what is a VTP? A VTP stands for VLAN Trunking Protocol, and the use of the VTP is, let's say, if we want to configure a VLAN, right, on a one switch, and we want to mirror the configuration to the other VLAN, and we can definitely do that. All right. So, for example, you were given a task that's um, you need to configure a switch, or not just a switch though, multiple, okay, multiple switches, okay. Let's say maybe 10, 20, or maybe 100. All right. So let's say your goal is to configure each switch, all right, a VLAN. Say you need to create a VLAN 10, 11, I'm sorry, let's say VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 on each of the switch, all right. And let's say if you have like a 50 switch or 30 switches, you need to do it one by one, all right. And it will take a lot of time for you to finish it, okay. So that is why we have a solution. We can use the VLAN trunking protocol, right? We can even create a server. Okay, we can assign this one as a server, and it can mirror or disseminate the VLAN configuration to the other remaining switches. Okay, it will make our life and job easier though. All right, and let me scroll down. Okay, well, in VLAN trunking protocol, we have a three modes. Okay, we can make this switch as the VTP server, or we can make it as a VTP client and VTP transparent. Okay, well, if it's a, VTP server, all right, definitely is this is what they will follow. All right, so the client will follow the configuration on the VTP server, while on this VTP transparent is it will not copy the configuration of the server. Instead, is it will just ignore it. Right? Let's say if you don't want this switch, okay, to have it, you copy the VLAN configuration of server, then you can set it as a VTP transparent. Okay. Well, let's go first on this switch. Okay, and I'll hit the command line interface. I'll hit enter to get started, and I'll type here enable. And under the privilege mode, I'll type here show space VTP space status. Okay, and I'm gonna spread this for you to see. Okay, so this switch, all right, um, VTP status, all right. VTP version K is capable of the version 1 and version 2, and what is currently running right now is the version 1. Okay, and VTP domain name, we need to set this. Okay, if let's say we want to set a server and client, all right, and then a client will copy the configuration, we need to set up a VTP domain name. Okay, and pruning mode is disabled, and down here it says in here that this switch is already on a server mode. Okay, so by default all of the Cisco switch, they are already on a server mode. Okay, and that is good. All right, so let's say if this is a server, then we don't need to configure it as a server. All right, and then maximum VLAN supported locally is 255, and then number of existing VLANs. All right, well, it says in here 5, meaning is it has a 5 default VLAN. Okay, well, let me type here show space VLAN. I'll show you the 5 default VLAN. Okay, all right, so this is the VLAN. All right, so this is the first one, the VLAN 1, the default one, and then followed by this 1002, 3, and then 1004, 1005. So these are the default VLAN as well. Okay, for the token, again, TRNet, right, these are default. That is why it's showing it's a total of 5. Okay, all right, So now let's create then a VLAN on this switch. Okay, so I am on the privilege mode. I'll type here CompT to go to the global config mode, and I'll create a VLAN, say 10. Okay, and then I'll create another VLAN 20, another one 30, and another one 40, and then last, okay, let's say VLAN 50. Okay, and let me save the configuration. I'll type here do right. Okay, and then I'll press Control C on the keyboard, and then I'll type here show VLAN. Okay, all right, so as you see that we already created a VLAN, right? The 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. And you notice that I haven't, give them a name, all right? But the computer automatically gave the VLAN a name, though, which is this is the VLAN 0010. All right. Well, if you fail to give a VLAN a name, though, then the switch will do the job, right, in giving them the name, all right, which is this. This is the default one that's being set up on the switch. Okay, and I'll close this. So our goal now, let's say we want this switch to be the VTP client, all right, and we want to copy the configuration from the server, all right. But first, we need to go back to the server, okay, and let's pretend that we don't know that this is already a server, right? And we also need to set up a domain name. Okay, so I'll press space here to get started, and then I'll type here compt to go to the global config mode, and I'll type here VTP, and then space, let's type question mark, okay, to see what are the available commands that we can use. So we can create a domain first. All right, so VTP domain, let's say I would like to name this as a Dan1. Okay, just to make it easy. All right, so Dan1. Okay, I'll hit enter, and it says in here changing VTP domain name from null to Dan1. Okay, it's all good. And then next, let's pretend that we don't know that this is a server, right? So we'll set the mode, so VTP space mode. All right, and then I'll say server. All right, and it says in here that device mode already VTP server, and that is good. Okay, well, let me just save the configuration to right. Okay, and Control C on the keyboard. I'll type here a show VTP. Okay, and then space status. Okay, and let's see. Right, so you notice that in here on the VTP domain name, it's the Dan1 that we set, okay? And it's on the server mode. And as you see in here, a number of the existing VLANs is now on total of 10, all right? Because we create VLAN 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, right? So it was added. And I'll close this. Let's connect this switch, all right? Let's say straight through cable. I'll just connect it to the first port 0/1 to the 0/1. Okay, and I'll open this second switch. We need to make this as the client. All right, so command line interface. Hit enter to get started. Type enable to go to the privilege mode, and comp T to go to the global config mode. All right, and let's see here. I'll type here VTP, okay, domain, all right, and it should be the same domain though, Dan1, okay, and VTP mode, it should be a client, okay, and now setting device to VTP client mode, all right, that is good, and now let me save the configuration, okay, and I'll press Control C to go back to the privilege mode. All right, so now since we're talking about a VLAN and we create multiple VLAN, right? So by default, this port is a access, all right? So in order for this port to carry a VLAN traffic, we need to convert this port into a trunk port, all right? So let's go first onto this switch. Let's go to the fast Ethernet 0/1, and we need to make this as a trunk port. Okay, so I'll hit enter, and then Comp T to go to global config mode. Then let's go to the fast Ethernet 0/1, and then I'll type here switch port, okay, mode, and then I'll make this as trunk. Okay, and now it's trunk. I'll hit enter. Okay, and let's put one command, switch port trunk, and then allowed. Let's say we want to allow, of course, the 10, all right, comma, or let's just say 1 to 100. Okay, so from VLAN 1 to 100. Okay, all right, and it is all good. And I'll hit enter. Oh, we forgot something in here. Okay, so I forgot to add the VLAN word. Okay, so it should be switch port trunk allowed, space VLAN space 1 up to 100. Okay, I'll hit enter, and let's save the configuration, and I'll close this, and let's go to the this switch, okay, to the client, and then we'll do the same. Okay, hit enter, enable comp T to go to the global config mode and interface fast Ethernet 0/1, and I'll make this as a trunk. Okay, switch port mode trunk, and then switch port trunk allowed. Okay, and then VLAN 1 to 100. Okay, let me spread this. All right, there you go. And let's type here do right to save the configuration. Okay, and let me close this, and let's give them some time. Okay, we need to wait for this to be green, and let's fast forward the time. All right, I'll fast forward the time. There you go. Okay, so now let's take a peek. All right, let's see if this switch, okay, um, was able to copy the configuration from the server. All right, let's do that. I'll open up the switch, Control C to go back to the privilege mode, and then show space VLAN. Okay, all right, and let me spread this. All right, so as you see in here, this is the last command that we input. All right, so these are the VLAN, all right, but we haven't, we did not configure this on this switch though. So by using the VTP, all right, by setting this up as a client and this as a server, then we're able to copy the configuration. All right, and it's good. All right, and let me close this. Okay. All right, and next is what we'll do is we'll make this a switch as a transparent. Let's say we don't want this switch to copy the configuration in this VTP server. All right,